It is official. It is now the most bittersweet time of the year, in my personal opinion. The fun of the wild card is gone, and now we only have 3 weeks left of football. It should be the best 3 weeks of football that we've seen all year. Only the best 8 teams are left. And so it should be super exciting to see who ends up winning out, which of these 8 teams ends up getting the Super Bowl. Will it be one of the favorites like the 49ers or Chiefs, or will it be a Cinderella story and it could be the Giants or the Jags? Probably not, but who knows? It could happen. This week, Caden and I are going to be picking the divisional games with score predictions as well, which should be super fun. We'll see how close we get. And as always, our picks are guaranteed to be 100% correct, especially if you're named Caden and not if you're named Austin. Welcome to K&A Football. Caden!
You had to switch it up again.
I couldn't say all right. It's just not all right for me to say all right. It's the only times we can say all right. It's kind of like there's a guy thing last week.
Let's not talk about that.
We're not going to talk about that. Did you notice that
I did. I was going to say there's a lot we got to say before we get into the pick'ems. I was going to say, one, thank you for fulfilling your promise.
Absolutely.
Last week on, what day did we record this week? Tuesday? No, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I was dressed up for coming from DECA, the marketing thing. And you were just wearing the flannel. And you were like, I'm doing this so that you can have the spotlight, which I appreciate. And then you told me you would dress up today. And I trusted you in that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to... I debated wearing nice clothes. Really did. I woke up this morning. I was like, should I? Because I know Austin's going to. And I was like, well, one, I don't want to put that on. That takes too long. That's too much work. I don't like to do that. And
Kate doesn't like to work.
No. Come on. And then second of all, I gotta let Austin shine. He did it to me, so gotta return the favor. And 3, Ohio State basketball. So college basketball for me is sort of like soccer for you. Like you love soccer, but obviously football. Football is
right. NFL is
the main sport,
unless there's the World Cup. But yeah,
right, yeah, okay. NFL is the main sport, but then you love soccer, and obviously NFL is the main sport for me. But then I love college basketball, and right now college basketball season is going on. It's like the middle of the season for it, and Ohio State basketball is really struggling. They've lost like 5 in a row of really bad teams, like some of the worst teams in the country. So they have a big game today. Try to rewrite the ship. I don't know. Had to wear this, had to support him, but had to let you shine too.
No, I appreciate it.
I like the hat we talked about last week.
Talked about the hat. I intentionally wore it just for you because
I figured.
You mentioned the hat. Yeah. I tried really hard this morning. It took me a solid 2 minutes to get this together, so really put in the work today. Yeah.
I don't know how happy Debbie will be with me saying this right here, but
who cares? Debbie's over there. We have the
Debbie
microphones.
can't stop me. What's Debbie gonna do? Mute my mic? Then I'm just gonna run to Austin's mic. So in the future, soon, we're getting another new setup. Yeah. We have some donations and new things coming in. So we're not gonna tell you what it is. Surprise. But it'll be fun. It's some big stuff.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for whenever we put all that up, whenever we have the time to do that.
Right, you really left the mystery. You left all of the mystery on the table there. I really thought that you were going to reveal something, and I was like,
no.
What's Caden actually going to reveal about this? How mad is Debbie going to be?
Debbie would kick me off of the podcast. Debbie would be sitting here. I'd be sitting back there, and there would be no podcast.
But you left all the mystery there. You were like, there's a something, but maybe not. Who knows? It's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
But there's also football that we should talk about.
There's also football, so we should get into that. Let's get into our pick'ems.
This week's K&A pick'ems.
First game on the agenda is, in my opinion, the game that has the most likelihood to be a blowout.
Mm-hmm.
Jaguars at Chiefs. I'm sure that all of you at home can probably see why I think this could be the game with the most potential for a blowout.
Because Trevor Lawrence is him, right? And he's just going to completely torch the Chiefs.
No, he's right. Yeah. So Trevor Lawrence is him. Doug Peterson is him, and
This Mahomes guy is terrible.
this Mahomes guy. Who even is he? I mean,
Shouldn't be in the playoffs.
yeah. I mean, he probably wouldn't get over a 27-0 deficit against the struggling Chargers. Who knows? So I'm gonna go Jaguars for this one. They're gonna win. Score prediction 100-3. That's my score prediction.
I'm with that.
Yeah. Obviously not. I think the Chiefs are gonna win this one, as well as the Jaguars did last week against the Chargers. I think that in large part, the Jaguars won that game because Doug Peterson's a better coach than Brian Staley.
Brandon
Staley, sorry. It's the same thing. And I don't really think that Doug Peterson is a better coach than Andy Reid.
Yeah. So, first of all, what's your score prediction? Because we did scores last week. Now, obviously, none of them were dead accurate. That's like very hard to do. But you were really close.
I was really close on a couple.
You were really close on a couple games. I will say that. So, what you got?
Yeah.
Hey, and off the camera last week, Debbie was flaming us.
Oh, that's so
for picking
true.
so many scores to be 31. I think we each had like 3 games with a final score with something. One of the teams had 31 points.
Yeah.
I think it ended with 4. 4 teams had 31 points. So we're like,
Out of 6 games.
yeah, we're like, Debbie, like, stop flaming us. This is why we're doing.
Yeah, this is why we're here. We ignore your accuracy on the picks this year. We ignore that completely. Our score predictions is the only thing that matters. For this game, I'm gonna have it. I have all of these games very close, but this is the one that has the most margin here, and it's not really that many points. It's only 2 scores. I'm gonna go Jaguars 17, Chiefs 27.
Okay, yeah. So there's 2 things. There's a lot of things, but there's the 2 worst things in life. One of them is burning your tongue. Okay, like I burnt my tongue on Thursday, and it kills. Like my tongue feels so weird right now. Like I was drinking hot chocolate, and it was like the hottest thing ever. It's awful, but that's besides the point. But then the other worst thing is playing the Chiefs in the playoffs because
Those are comparable.
because they're so. I mean, we all know this, that they're the best team. They got the best quarterback. They got the best tight end. They got one of the best coaches. They're amazing. I mean, they lost Tyreek Hill, and they got better. I mean,
Yeah, that doesn't happen to anyone else.
No, that never happens. So it is concerning a little bit that historically the teams, since they've added only one team gets the bye, since there's been 17 playoffs, the team who has the first round bye has tended to struggle in their first game back. There's been a lot of like upsets in the first round once they come back. Last year the Titans lost first round. Last year the Packers lost first round. Like these teams, almost like the rest hurts them because these teams are all amped up. They just want a playoff game. They keep the momentum going. This team has a break and they're just like sitting there, you know. So it could. I mean, yes, it's looked at as a rest and a free win, but it also could like hurt you in a way. But I don't think it's going to matter for the Chiefs and the Jaguars. The Chiefs are too good. The Jaguars are a good team. They made it farther than anyone thought they were going to make it this year. And they were a good team. I mean, they 27-point comeback last week. Doesn't matter who is the Chargers coach. Still 27-point comeback. But I'm going Chiefs as well. I think Mahomes, I don't care how much he's down. He's not going to lose this game. He'll find a way. I think it's going to... I was going to say 31, but Debbie will yell at me back there. I'm going to say 38.
Oh my.
I think it's going to be high scoring. None of these defenses are great.
I'll do 30.
I'll give another touchdown.
31 is too much. 38.
So I'm going to go 38-24.
Okay.
So 14-point game. You want to write those down?
Yeah,
Because
I'm
I
gonna
don't
write
have
this down for you because
we spent a lot of time trying to figure out what we wrote.
yeah. Well, I knew what I wrote.
Right,
because-
I did not. 38-24. I mean, obviously, could be. This would be a very crazy upset. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, this would be an insane upset. I think this would be if any game were to have the lower seeded team win. This would be the craziest one if it happened.
Absolutely. And because the Chiefs are favorites to go to the Super Bowl and win it again.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 things that I would like to mention really quick. First being the, like, I guess, historical tendencies for both of these quarterbacks. I'm sure that you've seen it, and I'm sure that a lot of people at home have seen it. But Trevor Lawrence has never lost a game
On Saturday. Yeah.
which is ridiculous. I mean, he only lost 2 games in high school, and those were on a Wednesday and a Thursday. He only lost 2 games in college, and those were on a Sunday and a Friday. And then he hasn't lost a Saturday game in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes has been to 4 straight AFC championship games, which is ridiculous to me. The only team that has a streak longer than that is the Patriots with 6.
Because they had someone named Tom Brady.
Right, they have someone named Tom Brady and a fantastic team built around them. So Patrick Mahomes is very close to getting to 5 and then 6 the next year. So
something's got to give.
Something's got to give.
Either Lawrence has got to lose on a Saturday, or Mahomes has to not go to the AFC Championship. Did you know these teams, the Jaguars and the Chiefs, have been in every single AFC Championship game since 2017?
I did know
because
that.
the Jags were in the one the year with like Tom Brady and the Eagles and the Jags and the
Minnesota
Vikings. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the weirdest championship weekend ever. You got
starting quarterbacks were like Case Keenum,
Blake Bortles,
Blake Bortles,
Nick Foles, and Tom Brady.
Yeah, that was
and Tom Brady didn't win that Super Bowl. How crazy is that? And it's going to happen again this year because one of these teams are obviously going to win and go to the AFC Championship. So
yeah,
it's kind of weird.
That's very crazy. The second thing I'd like to mention is I have said it before and I'll say it again. I think that the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl this year. At the beginning of the year, I had picked the Bills, but from what I've seen from the Bills, I don't feel like they can compete with either the Eagles or the 49ers in the NFC. That's just my personal opinion. So I think the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl. And I think that means that Andy Reid is going to get himself the biggest double-decker cheeseburger anyone has ever seen. Because if you remember from that last Super Bowl that the Chiefs won, they had that post-game press conference where they're sitting there and Patrick Mahomes with his Kermit the Frog voice. I was gonna attempt the voice, but then I decided against it. Because that's on the internet forever, and I haven't practiced my Kermit the Frog voice.
Oh, you gotta try it.
No, I'm not gonna try it. I'll try it at some point. Maybe
Next week.
If they make the Super Bowl,
all right,
I will do the Kermit the Frog
voice. I'm all of a sudden really rooting for the Chiefs Super Bowl.
So Patrick Mahomes was sitting there at the desk with NBC and all their people, and Andy Reid was sitting next to him, and he was like, Coach Reid did such a great job. Coach Reid is like the best coach ever, and us as a team, we're gonna get him the biggest double-decker cheeseburger you ever saw. And everyone kind of laughed it off, which I think that he can do it again, and I do think that he legitimately got a big double-decker cheeseburger. Speaking of great double-decker cheeseburgers, our friends over at K&F Construction, they might not be able to get you a double-decker cheeseburger, but they can get you a fantastic deck. K&F Construction has been serving the Northeast Ohio community for over 16 years, specializing in composite decks. K&F Construction takes the time and effort to provide the service and product you deserve for your home. You can call K&F Construction today at 330-575-2465 for a free estimate. Again, that's 330-575-2465. You can also visit kfdex.com, which is linked in the description. K&F Construction, let us build your dream backyard.
Maybe they'll make you a double-decker deck.
Maybe.
Hey.
Think of that, a double-decker deck?
Eating double-decker cheeseburgers while they go.
Dude, Andy Reid's going to be calling so fast.
But yeah, this should be, and all these games should be fun to watch. I mean, these are 2 explosive offenses, but we both believe Kansas City should have this one.
They should. This is the...
Nope. Oh,
no, you're good, Debbie. You're good.
We're good.
So this is another of the teams that got the first round bye. This is the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know why I emphasized the at. I don't really feel like the Eagles Stadium is one that's like super hard to play in, where Kansas City is. This, obviously, being another number 1 seed team, has the second highest potential for a blowout, but they are in division opponents. Like, they both are in the same division. They're both in the NFC East. So it's very hard, as we have seen in the last 2 weeks, it's very hard, or the last week, it's very hard to beat a team 3 times, or to play them 3 times and come out with a winning result. We saw that almost with San Francisco and the Eagles last week. At halftime, it really looked like it was going to be a close game. Ended up not being that way, but it seemed like it was going to be a good game. And then with the Ravens and Bengals, everyone thought that game was going to be in the bag. But obviously, when you see a team 3 times in a year, you learn a lot about them, and you know what they like to do, and you really learn their schemes. this is the same situation in my mind. These teams have already played twice. The Eagles have beat them twice, and now they're off of a bye week. The Giants obviously have a lot of momentum after beating the Vikings. So who do you have for this game?
Man, I'm not going to lie. All season long, Debbie knows if Debbie listens back there. Debbie does. Thank you. I have not been high on the Giants at all. Even when they were winning games, when them and the Jets were both winning games, I said I'm way more comfortable in this Jets team. I believe way more in this Jets team than the Giants. I just don't see how they're good. I don't think Daniel Jones is good. Saquon is their whole team.
Yeah.
Their defense is all right, but Brian Daboll now, literally coach of the year. He's
locked for coach of the year.
I don't care. They can lose this game 500-0 and he should get coach of the year. Daniel Jones has become him. He has stepped up in the playoffs. Last week he played a perfect game, and he's played good for the second half of the season. He's played great. Saquon, don't even get me started on Saquon. He's literally one of the better running backs in the league. Now that he's been healthy for a whole season, we can see why he was picked second overall in the draft. Isaiah Hodgins,
whatever his name is.
Whatever the white receiver is on their team, he is also him. He literally was a nobody, and then he decides to become prime Randy Moss and Jerry Rice in the playoffs. I don't know why, but good for you. And their defense is great. They're rolling. Dude, I'm picking the Giants in this game.
Okay, dude.
It's a divisional game, like you said.
Yeah.
It's their third time playing. First of all, it's very hard to beat a team 3 times in one season. It's very hard. I mean, we saw it last week, but that's also the 49ers. It's very hard to beat a team 3 times, and it's very hard to beat a divisional team 3 times. The divisional teams, like you said, those have more chance for being a close game or an upset. It doesn't matter how unmatched you are. Divisional games always seem to be closer because you see them multiple times a year. Now, this is their 3rd time. Plus, the Eagles had the bye. Now, I really think the bye hurts at times because you are resting now.
It's going to hurts?
It could hurts. But, the Giants, they have huge momentum now, beating a good Vikings team last week. They're rolling.
A fraudulent Vikings team.
Okay. The 3rd seed, they upset the Vikings.
Okay, there you go.
They're rolling. They have momentum. They're happy. They're hyped. None of them got hurt, so they're going into this game with momentum, fresh off a win. They're not going to lose anything. The Eagles, they're coming in. They're like, well, we just had a bye. We haven't played for 2 weeks, sort of 3, because we didn't play all of our last regular season games. So it's they're going to be dead. You might catch them dead in the first half of this game, and by the second half, it might be too late to come back. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think the Giants are going to win this game.
Wow. I saw the more that the Giants win, I've been with you all year where I was I don't understand how the Giants are winning, because that's been the story of their whole season. We don't understand how they're winning, but they keep coming out on top of games. They play to their competition, and that's about it. And then somehow play muddy football, and they get there, and they win. And that's what they've been doing all year. And now in the playoffs, I really didn't expect them to make it past the Vikings. Obviously, we both knew that it was going to be a close game, but I didn't think that they were going to make it past the Vikings. Now that they're here, it's okay, do I think they're going to make it past the Eagles? No, I don't. I think that the Eagles are a far superior team, so for that reason, I'm going to be taking the Eagles. But I don't discount the fact that they could make a Super Bowl run.
They could.
I saw a Madden simulation was run. Every year, people run Madden simulations on a lot of things, right? Where people are going to go in the offseason? What's the final record going to be for
Madden
each team?
is 100%
Because
realistic.
Madden's always guaranteed 100% correct.
like
Stop
us.
thinking that right now. Right. I would like to note that for the accuracy of Madden, every time that a Madden simulation was run, 2 years ago, they always had the Browns winning the Super Bowl. So I'd like that to be pointed out. But they did have the Giants.
That's why it's dead accurate.
Yeah. They did have the Giants making this run to the Super Bowl. And there have been a lot of comparisons between this team and the 2008 Giants team that inevitably won the Super Bowl against the undefeated Patriots and Tom Brady. Do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't. I really don't. If they beat the Eagles, I don't feel like they have it in them to beat the Cowboys or the 49ers, whoever wins that. I'm going to say the Eagles win this game. It's not going to be a huge blowout. This is going to be closer than the Jags-Chiefs game, I think. I have the Giants at 20, Eagles at 28.
Okay. I also have an 8-point game, but mine's I don't know how they're going to get this score, but this is the score that came into my head. I got Giants 27 and the Eagles 19. Like, I don't really know how they're going to get 19. Maybe. I don't know. It's going to happen, though. Trust me.
How would they even
They could
do
get
that?
16 by, let's see, scoring a touchdown, kicking a bunch of field goals
They're gonna
to 16,
and
and then kick another field goal to 19.
a Cowboys and miss 2 point after touchdowns.
That could also, I don't know. It's going to happen. Trust me.
Trust. I don't trust.
But this should be a good game. This is tonight's game, the Saturday night game.
Yes.
Yeah.
8:30 is this game.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully, Al Michaels and Tony Dungy are not on the call.
Goodness, that was a terrible call game.
Right.
It was the worst.
And before we get into our next game, make sure you follow K and Simple. What's that called?
Ampersand.
K ampersand A football on YouTube. We post our podcasts are on there, shorts are on there, YouTube exclusives, 5-minute footballs. It's a lot of fun. We go live every Monday at around 4:30 p.m. and then every Saturday morning at like 10:30 a.m. So make sure you follow us there so you can watch our live streams, watch our videos, our shorts.
It's a lot of fun over there. So getting into then the Sunday games, we have kind of weird times. So normally
it is odd.
It's really weird, these games. So normally in NFL season, you got games on Sundays at 1 o'clock, games at 4:15, and then the Sunday night game at 8:30. Then you have a Monday night game at 8:30 and a Thursday night game at 8:30. And that's kind of how it goes. That's just what the NFL season is. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of what people have come to expect. And so when I looked at these games and I saw that the Bengals would be playing the Bills at home, Bills being at home, not Bengals at home, at 3 o'clock on a Sunday, I was kind of thrown through a loop a little bit there. I was like, what is up with this? This is really strange. Yeah. Now, I don't mind. I really don't, because that means that if it starts at 3, that means that the Sunday night game gets pushed up a little bit, which means I get to go to bed earlier instead of going to bed past midnight when these games end. So I'm a little bit grateful for that, but it is a little bit weird.
I mean, I understand why the Cowboys-Niners game is at 8, but why? Like, it's still
the Cowboys-Niners game isn't at 8.
Or at night at like 7 or whatever time.
6:30.
This game will probably still be going on.
I know.
That's crazy. But why didn't they make this one the primetime game? This is going to be like the game of the playoffs, barring the AFC Championship between the Chiefs and whoever wins this game, assuming the Chiefs win.
Right.
Like, this is a rematch of the DeMar Hamlin game.
Yeah.
We saw the first half of a quarter of that game, and it looked like it was going to be a shootout.
Look, it was going to be a lot.
I mean, their tempers are going to be high. Emotions are going to be high. It's going to be such a good game. I mean, you got 2 of the best young quarterbacks in the AFC. Whatever. I mean, I'm happy it's at 3, I guess, because we get to watch the whole game. But
yeah,
this should be a really fun game. Like we said, we saw it. We saw the first quarter of this game back on January 2nd on Monday night.
Like that, yeah.
And the Bengals were just moving the ball at will. And the Bills had drive down and kicked a field goal. The Bengals had already scored a touchdown, and they were driving again. And then that's when DeMar Hamlin got hurt, and the game got called. So I think this is DeMar Hamlin. He's not going to be playing, obviously. Yeah. But I think he's back in the stadium, right?
Right. He should be at the stadium rooting for the Bills.
So you know that their emotions are just going to be everywhere.
Expect how many? 3 kickoff return for touchdowns. No.
So who do you got in this?
I do have the Bills.
Okay.
That might. I'm going to be completely honest here. That might be a little bit of AFC North bias. The fact that obviously my team is in the AFC North, and I don't want to see any team do better than us.
Too bad.
Obviously, they've already made it here, but I would love if they lost in embarrassing fashion. I don't think they will lose in embarrassing fashion, but I hope they lose. I do think that overall, I think that Cincinnati is the better team, barring their offensive line. Their offensive line is just turning more and more into a revolving door. It
gets more hurt every single week. That's the scary part of this game.
Yes. I think that if the Bills still had Von Miller and he didn't get hurt so early in the year, I think that this game would be over before it started. But they don't really have like a big name defensive lineman, in my opinion. I'm going to go Bills because I think their offense might be a little more explosive than the Bengals, especially if they can shut down Jamar Chase, and then hope that T. Higgins I think that T. Higgins is probably going to have a little bit of trouble getting started in this game after what happened with DeMar Hamlin.
I think he's going to try to go crazy because he was getting death threats. That is
He was.
crazy.
I think that it's hard to come back and play the same team after that.
It's not his fault.
I'm aware it's not his fault.
I know he knows it's not his fault, but people are they feel so safe and so brave and so tough behind their screens, so they can just say whatever they want. They're giving him death threats for playing football, for getting tackled. Like, no, that's a joke. If I'm T. Higgins, yeah, the emotions might be high. I get that. But if I'm T. Higgins, I just want to show out in this game and just shut up all the Bills fans. But yeah, we'll see. In this one, I might be picking with my heart here because I really am kind of rooting for the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl. I think they're a fun team.
How would you root for that? That's a terrible thing to
I
root
don't
for.
have any AFC North bias. I'm not a Browns fan or a Steelers fan or a Ravens fan.
Oh, that's right. None of the NFC to South teams made it anywhere in the playoffs. So.
Oh, man. But I'm rooting for the Bengals in this one. Or I'm picking the Bengals.
Oh, you're rooting for them. Oh, no.
I am rooting for the Bengals, I guess, too, though. But I think it'll be a good game. This should be a good game. It should be a high-scoring game. What concerns me, like we said, is the Bengals' offensive line. But I think that even if the Bills can shut down Jamar Chase, T. Higgins is still an elite number 2 receiver, and Tyler Boyd is still a really good number 3. Their running game, they got Joe Mixon and Joe Burrow. He can just make things happen. It should be fun. It's also concerning that this game is in Buffalo, which I think goes back to that Monday night game, which is really stupid now that you think about it. At least just had this with a coin flip or something, because if the Bengals would have won that game, which it was very early in the game, but they were controlling the game at that point. If they would have won that game, Bengals are home for this game. It's in Cincinnati instead of Buffalo, and Buffalo's tough to play in. So it's a really big swing. That's a huge advantage for Buffalo, which is really stupid.
Yeah, it's very obvious to see why Cincinnati and their players were really upset about the calling of that game.
There's another reason that Cincinnati might come out with more firepower. They just want to be like... Another thing, the NFL is already selling tickets for a Chiefs-Bills AFC Championship. Did you know that?
They do that all the time. That's not super uncommon. The Panthers were selling tickets for their playoff games before they were even in the playoffs, and then they lost to Tampa Bay. But that's not uncommon.
Right, but you don't normally hear players responding on it. They were talking to Joe Mixon, and he was going off, and he's like, "It's so disrespectful. They want to keep disrespecting us, whatever." I think they come out with firepower.
I'm sure they're also selling tickets for a Chiefs-Bengals.
You don't hear it from the media.
Of course you don't hear that from the media, because that doesn't really fit the narrative, does it? No. I'm going to go with the Bills in this game, in case you couldn't guess. I'm going to go high scoring. I'm going to go Bills win 34-30.
Okay. I'm going to say Bengals win, like I said. 41-35. Bengals.
Obviously.
Huh.
Oh, interesting.
Should be good. Should be a really fun.
Go Bills.
These Sunday games should be both very good games. Saturday will still be all right. I think tonight's game will be really good.
Yes.
But both of these Sunday games should be fun.
Should be fantastic. Speaking of the last Sunday game,
Austin, hold up.
Yes.
We got a question in the chat from our good friend Jack.
Hey,
Jack. I'm sorry about their Lions, man. I was rooting for you.
All right. Jack asks, is Tom Brady coming home? It's a good question.
No.
Coming home as in what?
Because Jack
stepping away.
Jack likes the Lions, Detroit. He also likes the team up north, Michigan. And so obviously Tom Brady went there. So he's saying, is Tom Brady coming home to... If he's talking about coming home to Michigan than coming home to the Lions, absolutely not. I think Jared Goff right now is better than Tom Brady is right now. I don't think that's much of a question. Jared Goff's playing great. But if you're saying come home to the 49ers...
That's what I was thinking.
I still think no. I think Purdy is their guy. I think they said yesterday, barring some crazy injury, Purdy is their guy going into 2023.
Yeah. Coming home as in the Patriots?
Oh.
Probably not. I think it's a better possibility because they really don't have a fantastic quarterback. But he also won't be playing much longer. Every year that Tom Brady, the season ends, it's like for the last 5 years, it's been, okay, is Brady going to retire now? Is Brady going to retire now?
Same as Aaron Rodgers.
Same as Aaron Rodgers, I know. But Aaron Rodgers obviously hasn't won as many Super Bowls as Brady. He's a big name quarterback, but then there's Brady. Do I think that he's better than Aaron Rodgers? No, I don't. But he's got a bigger name. And so a lot of more teams are like, oh, we want Brady. I think that Brady retires after this year.
You do.
I really do. I think that would be smart of him to retire after this year. I mean, he's got like a ridiculous contract lined up for sports media after he retires. Like something crazy, like $300 million contract for once he's done in the NFL. He just goes straight to sports media, and that's what he'll do probably till the day he dies. I think that's what he does.
I mean, I absolutely think he should retire. He's not, at this point in career, he's not a top 10, top 15. You could argue top maybe 20 quarterback. He is not what he used to be at all. He had great talent in Tampa Bay, and he could not get it to work. He had a losing record. I mean, he was awful. I mean, that's the way to put it. I don't know if he's going to retire because, I mean, he divorced his wife. He lost his family to come back to the NFL. I don't think he does that all for 1 year. And I don't think Tom Brady, his ego's too high. I don't know if he can go out on a year like this.
Yeah, I could also see that.
I think realistically, I think he's going to go to the Raiders, which again is, I don't know how I'd feel about that. Their offensive line is a joke. Josh Jacobs is more than likely gone. Devontae Adams is there, but that's about it. I mean, Darren Waller is good. So is Renfro. But their defense is bad. Their O-line's bad. It's worse. It's arguably a worse situation than Tampa Bay.
Because then you're in the AFC West.
Exactly. You're not in the NFC South where you can have a losing record and make the playoffs. He should retire, but I don't know if he will.
If he plays again, I could very well see him taking a massive pay cut to go to a good situation just so he can end on top.
Yeah, well, most good situations in the NFL right now have their quarterbacks. Like, what team has a good situation that would need him right now?
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's why you'd have to take a big pay cut to incentivize them to take him.
You think they'd start him over like whatever quarterback has them in their good situation right now?
I don't know. I mean, maybe go to the Niners, have Purdy sit for the next year, pay Brady next to nothing for it.
Yeah,
who knows? It's all big.
There's a lot of question marks this offseason.
Yeah, when you get to these old quarterbacks, that's what happens. You don't know what you're gonna do. Okay, last game, 6:30 for some unknown reason, but I'm not gonna complain. The only reason I can really think of is that this is in the Bay Area. This is in San Francisco.
So this is like what, 4:30 then, or 3:30?
Yeah, this would be like a 3:00 game or something up there. That's the only reason I could think of is get the people, get the tailgating. I don't know.
This is a rerun of a lot of historic playoff games and NFC Championship games and really good historic playoff games. Last year, the infamous QB draw with 14 seconds to go. Stupid decision. Obviously, the Cowboys lost that game. Off the top of my head, for some reason, I just lost my train of thought. I can't think of any more, but this is a really historic, a lot of playoff games with these two teams. A lot of great endings, great games. Yeah.
So for this game, obviously, I think that anyone can think to themselves that the 49ers are going to win this game. That's what I think, personally, is that the 49ers will win this game. I don't feel like the Cowboys are nearly as good as the 49ers. Maybe if we were to get the Cowboys that we had at the beginning of the year, where we were like, oh my goodness, the Cowboys are good again? What's up with this? Maybe an argument can be had for that. But with the amount of interceptions that Dak Prescott throws and the explosiveness of...
And the amount of extra points that they miss.
Right. The explosiveness of the 49ers offense, as well as how good the 49ers defense is, I don't think that the Cowboys can come out on top. I said it last week in the recap episode. I think that the only way that the Cowboys were to win this is if Dan Quinn, their defensive coordinator, Cowboys defensive coordinator, can throw a lot of different looks at Brock Purdy. If he can alternate the formation pre-snap, give him one look, alternate what the formation is, really make Brock Purdy think about what he's going to do before he does it, and hopefully get him to overthink, throw a couple interceptions. That's the only way the Cowboys win this game.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think the 49ers will go to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. I think they have the most complete team, like skill player wise and roster wise. Their defense is the best in the league. Their offensive line is the best in the league. Their running back is one of the best in the league. Their receivers are some of the best in the league. Their tight end is one of the best in the league. They literally have best players everywhere on their team. Insert Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft. You don't have to be phenomenal. You just have to be competent to get these players the ball. And he's been above average. He's been really good. You can say he's a product of a great roster, but you can say he's great. Either way, it's working. They're winning games.
That's all that matters.
Dallas is not. I mean, yeah, they're here in the divisional round, but they've been on a skid lately. They beat Tampa last week. It's Tampa. They had a losing record. Yeah, Brett Maher will miss 5 extra points this week instead of 4. If they even actually no, they're not scoring 5 touchdowns. Yeah, I think San Francisco. This I think will be the blowout of the week.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I don't see a way that the Cowboys can keep this really close.
I'm curious to hear your score prediction then.
You go first. Fine, I can go. I think the Niners. I mean, they killed the Seahawks last week, and they didn't need to like. It was a close game in the first half, but then the second half, Seahawks did nothing, and they were just scoring. They were just running it up. I feel like they could do more. Even like what they have last week, 42.
Yeah, something like that.
I think they're gonna have 42 again. 42-21. I think they were double up the Cowboys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I have the 49ers winning, but not by that much. I have them winning by 4.
Oh, my. Yeah, I don't see a way. I'm really high on this 49ers team right now. I mean, Brock Purdy's making it work.
Yeah, he is.
I think if he's on another team, he's all right, but he's not this. He's not the next Tom Brady, quote unquote. He's not. No matter what team he's on, but people are going to say that because he's going to potentially lead this team to the Super Bowl as a rookie, and he was a late pick in the draft. But
yeah. So for this game, I personally have Cowboys 21, 49ers 25. That's what I have as the final score of this game, which means that the Cowboys have to make 3 extra points. So we'll see how well that goes. That's the biggest gamble of the score prediction, really.
It's not that. Yeah, it's not the actual score. It's just like. Extra points aren't going to happen.
I do see a rematch of the... What Super Bowl was it? 2019 Super Bowl?
2020. The Chiefs one?
Chiefs 49ers? I think that was 2019.
I think it was 2020.
I think it was 2019. Because I think they won the Super Bowl in 2019. 2018 season won the Super Bowl in 2019. I think that because Tom Brady then left New England in 2019. And then after that 2019 season, won the Super Bowl with them against the Chiefs.
Sure. I trust you.
It was the 2020 Super Bowl?
Hey.
Dang. Yeah. I was pretty confident about that, too. Really? Was it?
Because that was the COVID season.
I thought it was the season after that was the COVID season.
No.
Either way.
Well, I guess the COVID season would have been the season of 2020.
Yeah.
Because that was a 2019.
The season of 2019. Super Bowl would have been
in 2020.
February of 2020.
Okay,
so this was the 2019-2020 season.
Wow.
So we were both right.
That feels a lot longer ago than that.
Yeah, no, there's no way. Because last year, let's see, was the 2021-2022 Super Bowl, and that was the Rams.
Yeah.
The year before was the 2020 and 2021 Super Bowl, and that was the Bucks.
The Bucks, and the year before.
And then the year before was the 2019-2020.
Yeah.
So,
wow. Why does that feel so long ago? That was only 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Man, I'm losing my mind. So, yeah. So, I have all 4 home teams winning this week.
Yeah, I mean, I have 3, with an exception being the Eagles. I think the bye week's going to hurt them. We'll see.
We'll see. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is the most, like we've said before, the playoffs are the most fun time of the year for football. Also, kind of bittersweet because... AFC Championship, NFC Championship next week, and then the Super Bowl 2 weeks after, or not 2 weeks after, but a couple weeks after, and then that's the end of that.
Yep. We talked about last show, Aaron Donald's little cryptic tweet, or Twitter bio change.
Yeah.
He came out and said that he's returning. So we were both right on the fact of he was doing it for attention.
Yeah.
Jogging media attention.
Yeah, way to be
predictable, Aaron.
Yeah, but whatever. So he's staying. Sean McVay's staying. Still no news on some coaches. No one has hired a coach yet. Yeah. For the Panthers, it sounds like it's either between Steve Wilkes or Sean Payton. And I wouldn't complain with either.
I'd want Sean Payton.
We have another question in the chat from Jack. He asks, as a Lions fan, the biggest question for him is who should the Lions pick in the NFL draft? Do you know what pick they have?
The Lions have the 4th, I think.
Let me look
I
it
feel
up
like
quick
that's
here.
correct.
Because I've been looking at a lot of mock drafts for the Panthers, and then obviously Panthers have the 9th, and so I see the top 10 up to them. And then I think they have the 4th. No, the Colts have the 4th.
Well,
They have
okay.
the 6th.
This is from. Okay, it
Hold
says
on,
the
I got you
Detroit
there.
Lions' own pick comes in at number 18. The last time they had the number 18 pick slot.
No,
they
that's their
selected.
pick. They also own the Rams.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right.
So that one's very high. Let me see. Right here. Here's a mock draft. Let's see what we got here. They have the
Keep scrolling.
the 6th pick. So
Sixth
yeah,
pick. Okay, so yeah.
they own the 6th pick. Depending on who's there,
Yeah.
I think that they'll take. I mean, obviously, it's very early. Draft is until April.
Yeah.
We'll probably do mock draft stuff as that time comes.
Definitely.
But
Oh,
at
sure.
this point, they don't need a quarterback.
No.
Jared Goff has been sustainable. If you want a quarterback, maybe take one in the later round and
Yeah,
sit him
like
behind
third,
for a
fourth
couple years.
round.
And at worst case scenario, you roll with Goff. He really struggles. You trade up and draft one next season. Maybe you attack Lamar in free agency. I don't know, but you don't need to draft a quarterback in the first round of this draft. You're fine. Your defense was the worst in the NFL this season.
Yeah,
Your
that's
offense
exactly
was
what I was gonna
phenomenal,
say.
but your defense was a joke. Will Anderson out of Alabama is a phenomenal defensive end. I think
Yep.
you can pair him with Aiden Hutchinson. Their defensive line would be great. I think if you can get him at 6, that's awesome. Jalen Carter out of Georgia, he'll probably be a top 3 or 4 or 5. No, he'll probably be a top 3, 4 pick. So I don't know if he'll fall to you. Maybe teams aren't as high on him as all the NFL like mock draft people and executives and stuff. So maybe he can fall to you. That would be great. Any of these defensive ends or linebackers, definitely approach defense.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on
Yeah.
everything you just said. Your offense was super explosive this year. One of the best in the NFL at scoring, but your defense was also one of the best of the NFL at letting teams score. So, like you said, defensive end, if you can pick up a good corner safety, do that. Like literally just whatever the best defensive talent at the 6th spot is, that's who you take.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of seasons ago, I think it was Matt Rule's first year, he picked all defense. Like literally first time in NFL history that a team only picked defense in every single round. Didn't pick a single offensive player. And now you look at the Panthers, their defense, phenomenal. Their offense is a
Questionable.
joke, kind of
Yeah.
questionable. But their defense is great. And the Lions' offense is already great. Say they take the same approach, they can have a good defense. I mean, Seahawks, their defense was all right this year. They have so many rookies. Their historic rookie class.
Yeah,
I mean, hey,
absolutely.
yeah, take defense.
Defense is what wins championships, or so I've been told by my father. That's such a dad thing to say, honestly.
It is. Because that's how it was back in like the 80s when no one was scoring, when Mahomes wasn't playing and he wasn't no-look passing it. Do you think Mahomes does something new in these playoffs? I think he's going to try some like behind the back.
Oh, well, we were talking about that preseason.
We were?
Well, I was at least. I was talking to you about this, I think on the air. Preseason, Mahomes, there's a video that surfaced of him trying behind the back passes, and he
don't remember this.
did 3 in a row where he hit the crossbar on the field goal thing from
He's
like
so
15 yards away.
crazy. And dude, he's gonna pull one out in one of these games. It's gonna be like the Super Bowl with everyone watching. They're gonna do a ring around the Rosie again, and then he's gonna
Yes.
run to the side. And he's gonna be running this way. Like Kadarius Toney's gonna be like back behind him on the left side of the field and like waiting for a screen. Mahomes is gonna be running right, and then Mahomes is just gonna like. This doesn't even work because you got to throw a spiral, but he's gonna throw a spiral like this. I don't know how it's gonna work, but he's gonna do it, and it's gonna fly. It's gonna be a normal fast pass. Tony's gonna catch it and run for a touchdown, but it's gonna get called back for like a false start
Obviously, it always does.
because you can't
doesn't
have
it?
anything nice in the
No,
NFL.
you can't have anything nice in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that the Chiefs are going to pull out a crazy play from Andy Reid. I don't know about this week because I don't know if they need to.
Yeah.
But next week in the AFC Championship game, definitely a crazy play call from Andy Reid. Definitely a crazy throw from Patrick Mahomes because that seems par for the course.
And they're
For
fun
sure.
to watch. They're really fun. Mahomes is
I think Mahomes saves this team from being that stuffy, insufferable team that just wins every year. And you're like, oh, there they are again. It's like the Patriots. They just win all the time. I think they keep it fun and they keep it like, oh, yeah, they win all the time, but it's fun to watch them.
because he's like Brady when he was winning when he was young. He doesn't do anything crazy. He's just that pocket passer. He doesn't have a cannon arm. He doesn't run. He makes good throws, I guess. He's kind of boring, you know. But then Mahomes, he's running, he's side arming, he's ring around the rosieing, he's everything. He's doing everything. Whatever. Yeah, he's crazy.
Fun. But yeah, playoffs. This divisional round should be a lot of fun. We're really looking forward to it. Tune in on probably Monday. Oh, thanks, Debbie.
Debbie
I was just getting ready to close the episode out. In case you couldn't tell, we were just getting ready to close it out. It's going to be great. But then Debbie was like, "Explain the Waffle House thing." So if you don't know the Waffle House thing, that's obviously if you watch. You don't even have to watch football, but if you keep up with the internet, you know that a lot of there's this thing called fantasy football, right, where you pick players and they score points based on how well they do in the games. And
it's real life. It's not fantasy.
It's real life, guys.
It is real life.
My life. No. So a lot of fantasy football leagues, the loser will have to spend 24 hours in a Waffle House, and for every waffle that they consume is 1 hour off their time. So we went ahead and a couple months ago posted an Instagram poll for you guys, and you all decided that whichever one of us lost the pick'ems, so whoever got the most games wrong during the regular season and into the playoffs would have to spend that punishment at Waffle House. 24 hours into Waffle House for every waffle you eat, an hour off your time.
So make sure you're following us at KA_football on Instagram so you can be a part of those punishment votes and everything.
Yeah, and like Caden said earlier, follow on YouTube because that's going to be an episode you can't listen to on Spotify, Apple Podcast, anywhere else you get your podcast. That is only going to be on YouTube. So make sure you go to K_A football to catch that.
Right. I was when I was going to that DECA thing on Wednesday, when I was all dressed up, nice and spazzy.
Yeah.
I was going, and we passed the Waffle House on the way there, and I was like, "Oh!" I don't know, it was pretty funny.
Yeah,
because that's going to be your home. You know who also likes a Waffle House?
Who's that?
Trevor Lawrence.
He does like Waffle House.
He went to Waffle House after their crazy comeback win in the wild card round, which is not where I would typically go to celebrate with a bunch of criminals. But good for you. You good do you, Trevor. Probably shouldn't have said that, but
hey, that's fine. All right, are we good now, Debbie? Am I able to close out? All right, perfect.
I think Debbie's got the stats somewhere. No,
If you want them.
No,
I'm winning by a lot.
We don't need to look at him.
I might have already clinched. I definitely already clinched.
Yeah, we don't need to say that out loud, though, Caden. Thank you all for watching. It was a lot of fun picking the games. Hopefully, I get them right so I can boost my ego a little bit, get the score right a little bit too. But at the end, it doesn't really matter. Waffle House is going to be my home. Again, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys on Monday for the recap episode. Thanks for watching this episode of K&A Football. You can listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and we're also active on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts.
If you made it this far in the video, thank you. You're a real one. We'll see you next time.